At 6:47 p.m., everyone was supposed to be out of Westfield High. The lights were off, the doors were locked, but 3 students were still inside, and according to the security cameras, they weren't alone. At 6:47 p.m., the last of the October sunlight was fading over Westfield High School. Most students were already gone, rushing into the weekend, but 17-year-old Marcus Chen was heading the opposite direction, down toward the library. He and his friends, Jake and Emma, still hadn't finished their AP history project. It was due Monday, and they had pushed it off all week. Jake was already there, scrolling on his phone. Finally, Jake said. Emma texted. Cheer practice ran late. Marcus dropped his backpack beside the table. The library felt unusually quiet for a Friday. A few minutes later, the librarian, Mrs. Patterson, looked up from her desk. "You 3 aren't planning to stay too long, I hope," she said. "I leave at 5. Cleaning crew comes around 5:30. Building gets locked up around 6:30. We'll be out way before then," Marcus assured her. At 4:45 p.m., Emma rushed in, slightly out of breath, still in her cheer uniform. "Sorry, coach kept us late." They got to work. Marcus handled research. Jake worked on slides. Emma started drafting the presentation script. Everything felt completely normal. At exactly 5 o'clock, Mrs. Patterson passed by their table again. "I'm heading out. Don't forget. Make sure you leave before they lock up. Have a good weekend," Emma called. The front doors shut behind her, and almost immediately, the school felt different, quieter, bigger, too empty. By 6:15 p.m., Marcus noticed something. The cleaning noises he expected to hear weren't there. No carts, no vacuums, no voices in the hallway, just silence. "Hey," Marcus said slowly, "has anyone heard the cleaning crew?" Jake looked up. "Now that you mention it, no." Emma frowned. Marcus stood. "I'm gonna check the hallway." He stepped outside the library. The corridor was completely empty. The overhead lights hummed softly. Nothing else. A small knot formed in his stomach. "Let's just pack up and go," Jake said when Marcus returned. "Yeah," Emma agreed quickly. They gathered their things and headed for the main library doors. Jake grabbed the handle and pulled. It didn't move. He frowned and tried again. Still stuck. "That's weird." Emma tried next. Nothing. Marcus stepped forward and pushed harder. The door wouldn't budge. "Okay," Jake said, forcing a small laugh. "That's not great." "Back exit," Marcus said, staying calm. They hurried to the rear stairwell door. Locked. Now Emma's voice tightened. "Okay, that's not funny." Marcus pulled out his phone. No signal. Jake checked his. Nothing. Emma's screen showed the same thing. 0 bars. "That makes no sense," Jake muttered. "I had full signal 10 minutes ago." They rushed to the nearest window. Marcus unlocked the latch and pushed. The window didn't move. He tried another and another. Every single one was stuck. "That's not possible," Marcus whispered. They decided to wait. Maybe security would come by. Maybe the locks were on a timer. Maybe there was a normal explanation. For about 3 minutes, nothing happened. Then Marcus heard it. Footsteps, slow, measured, somewhere down the hallway. Emma's voice dropped to a whisper. "Did you hear that?" The footsteps were getting closer. Marcus stepped toward the library door. "Hello?" he called. "We're locked in the library. Can you help us?" The footsteps stopped. A long, heavy silence followed. Then the walking started again, but instead of stopping at the library, it kept going, right past them. Emma's fingers tightened around Marcus's sleeve. Why didn't they stop? Before anyone could answer, a low scraping noise came from above them, from the 3rd floor, like something dragging slowly across the floor. The sound stopped. Then, a door creaked open somewhere upstairs. Footsteps again, coming down the stairwell, getting closer. Through the narrow glass window of the library door, they saw a shadow, tall, too thin, standing perfectly still in the hallway. Marcus swallowed. "Hello?" he tried again. The figure didn't move. Emma leaned closer to Marcus and whispered, "That doesn't look like a person." The shadow slowly shifted. Then It stepped back, and the footsteps faded away. "Mrs. Patterson's office," Marcus said suddenly. "There's a landline." They rushed inside. Marcus grabbed the receiver. Dead. No dial tone. Jake turned slowly toward the wall. "Marcus, look." It was an old framed photo from 1993. Students and staff standing on the football field. Marcus had passed it hundreds of times. But tonight, something was wrong. In the back row, there were shapes that didn't quite match the others. Blurry. Distorted. Emma's phone suddenly lit up. A video was playing. None of them had touched it. Security camera footage. Timestamp. Current time. The third floor hallway. Empty. Then, something moved across the frame. Emma's voice shook. I can't close it." The feed switched. Second floor corridor. Empty for several seconds. Then something slowly turned the corner and started moving toward the library. Jake whispered, "It's coming back." At that exact moment, footsteps returned in the hallway. Closer than before. "Hide," Marcus whispered. "Now." They ducked behind the old book stacks. The library door handle began to move. Slowly, carefully. Then, the door creaked open. The same door that had been locked. Footsteps entered the library, moving between the tables. Marcus carefully leaned out just enough to see. The figure was inside now, too tall, arms hanging too low, its head turning slowly, like it was listening. Then, Jake's phone buzzed loudly in the silence. The figure's head snapped toward them. Marcus didn't hesitate. "Run." They bolted into the hallway, down the stairs, and straight toward the main entrance. Marcus slammed into the push bar. Nothing. Emma pounded on the glass. "Help, please." Then, a normal human voice cut through the dark. "Hey, what are you kids doing in here?" A flashlight beam swept across the lobby. Mr. Rodriguez, the night security guard. The figure was gone, completely. Rodriguez pushed the door bar. It opened easily. Cool night air rushed in. Marcus stared at it, breathing hard. "It wouldn't open before." Rodriguez frowned slightly. "Cell service is spotty in parts of the building," he said. "But you really shouldn't be here this late." They didn't argue. They just left. The next morning, they met at a crowded cafe. Bright lights, voices, normal life. It didn't match what they had experienced. Marcus hadn't slept. "I found something," he said quietly, opening his laptop. Old newspaper archives filled the screen. Headlines, dates, patterns. 3 students went missing after staying late at Westfield High, Marcus said. 1994. He scrolled. Not just once. It happened more than once. Jake leaned closer. Emma stayed still. No forced entry. No witnesses. Marcus continued. Silence. Then he placed a printed photo on the table. The 1993 school picture. "Look at the back row." They leaned in. Blurry shapes. Faint outlines that didn't belong. Jake frowned. Those weren't there before. Marcus pulled out another image. A yearbook page. 3 students, smiling. "The same ones who disappeared," he said. Emma's voice dropped. "They look the same." Marcus nodded, then turned his laptop back toward them, a zoomed-in version of the photo. The shapes clearer now. 3 figures, standing in the back row, before they vanished. Jake exhaled slowly. "That doesn't make sense." Marcus met his eyes. "I know." A pause. Then, the security footage from last night. They both looked up. "It wasn't the first time," Marcus said quietly. Silence settled over the table, because now they understood. What they saw in that school had been there long before them. The end. This story is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents are either the products of the author's imagination or used fictitiously. Note, for more mysterious, dramatic, and horror stories, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Please share your thoughts and suggestions in the comments.